My name's Courtney Gilbert. I'm the curator of visual arts at the Sun Valley Center for the Arts. And the exhibition that we have up right now is part of a larger Big Idea project examining topics around immigration and refugees, both in a big historical context, in a local context, and also current refugee crises around the world. The visual arts exhibition features artwork by 4 contemporary artists who each tackle the topic from different points of view and using different artistic media. We're offering this project as a way of having a community-wide conversation about what the role of the United States should be and what are the risks of refugee resettlement and what are the rewards. Tiffany Chung is an artist who was born in Vietnam and left that country after the Vietnam War. She has direct experience of what it means to move into an entirely new culture. The installation that we have is called Tomorrow Isn't Here, and she presents the Dust Bowl as a kind of internal refugee crisis within the United States. 300,000 people were forced to leave the Great Plains to start new lives. She presents all this scientific data through embroidery and through individually created glass sculptures and through prints. Images of farming equipment with these clouds of little molecules of silicon dioxide. Embroidered graphs on canvas charting ocean temperatures, charting wheat prices, charting precipitation levels. 1,000 glass bison are marching through our gallery like a big herd on the move. For Chung, they're a metaphor for this kind of huge migration of people. Her project really brings together past, present, and future, warning viewers to consider the way that we may have internal refugee crises within the United States and other countries in the future in response to environmental change. Shiva Ahmadi is an artist who was born in Tehran and grew up in Iran, came to the United States as a young woman to pursue her MFA, and she now teaches at the University of California at Davis. A lot of her work uses the traditional techniques of Iranian and Middle Eastern art to address contemporary social and political issues. Ahmadi was particularly struck by a photograph of a 3-year-old Syrian boy who drowned while trying to flee Syria with his family, and it filled her with outrage. As a response to that experience, she made a body of work she calls Ascend. Beautiful works on paper, as well as an animated film made from her watercolor paintings, in which this little boy is carried through the air by winged figures. Her work gets at all the complications of the crisis, from authoritarian governments that are repressing their people, to terrorist organizations, to Western European governments that are struggling to absorb this enormous influx of refugees. She presents a nuanced view in really beautiful and lyrical images. Fazl Sheikh is an internationally known photographer. He grew up in the United States and studied photography at Princeton University. In 1992, he was in Kenya, where he had often visited his father's family. At a time when civil wars in neighboring countries were leading huge numbers of refugees to flee over the border into refugee camps, many of which still exist. Fazl Sheikh spent time working in those communities, building relationships with the people who live there, and making portraits. Really beautiful, haunting images, often of women and children whose lives have become circumscribed by their experience as refugees. He returned in 2000 and pursued a second project, which he titled A Camel for the Sun, photographing the women he had met earlier, as well as many of the children who were now young adults. They put a face on the refugee crisis. It gets at the particular challenges women face as refugees. We see these people as individuals, we know their names, and in many cases we have their stories recorded. The exhibition also includes a selection of photographs from a 2-year project at the end of the 1990s that Sheikh pursued in northern Pakistan. He titled the project The Victor Weeps. Working in refugee villages along the Afghan-Pakistan border, he made portraits of refugees who had fled Afghanistan after the rise of the Taliban. The 4th artist in the exhibition is a photographer named Angie Smith. She's based in Los Angeles, but has family in Boise, Idaho. And on one of her visits, she was struck by the number of refugees she saw in restaurants and in grocery stores and walking through neighborhoods. She She began a project that started with photographs she took of a good friend of hers, a woman named Rita from the Congo, who helped introduce her to lots of other people in her community. She made portraits of refugees from Myanmar, from Bhutan, Sudan, from Congo, from Syria, from Afghanistan and Rwanda. They're portraits that help us meet these people as individuals rather than as an anonymous group of immigrants. Working with a writer named Hannah Steen, she recorded interviews with everybody that she photographed, so we have their stories too, about how they came to Idaho and what their experience has been adjusting to life in a new culture. She also spent a year making photographs of refugees who were in their final year of high school throughout Boise. Images that get at both the challenges refugees face as they adjust to a new culture, but also their successes, the moments that they're celebrating in their lives. I hope everybody will come see the exhibition. I think it's a wonderful chance to participate in a larger conversation about immigration and refugees at a time when it's part of the national dialogue.